So let me get this straight. So Jake Paul is taking on Anthony Joshua in December in a professional boxing match. Jake might have just lost his mind. I thought he was mental before, he's definitely mental now. So yes, you heard it right. Jake Paul will be taking on Anthony Joshua on December the 19th in Miami, Florida. I just can't believe it. For starters, he couldn't knock out Mike Tyson, who was 58 years old. He couldn't knock out Tommy Fury. I just don't know what to say. I think Jake Paul really has a death wish. So like I said, this is a professional boxing bout, and this will go on both of their records. Eddie Hearn clarified that this is not an exhibition, this is real. This is a real professional boxing match between the two of them. And to think about 10 years ago, Jake Paul was on Disney Channel, and he's now taking on Anthony Joshua. At one point, he was a heavyweight champion in boxing, he was an Olympic gold medalist in boxing, and now he's taking on Jake Paul. So it'll be 8 3-minute rounds, and the fight will be done with 10-ounce boxing gloves, which is just even more mental to me. So let's talk about the fact that this is a win-win for Jake, and this is a lose-lose for Anthony Joshua. Think about it, right? So if Jake Paul goes in there and he even looks even just a tiny little bit good, if he doesn't get slept in the first round, that's a win for him, because he's going up against Anthony Joshua. If he doesn't get flatlined in the first few minutes, then this is a win for Jake. Even if he loses the fight by decision, he still wins. Everyone still sees Jake Paul as this Disney star, this YouTuber. And yeah, granted, he's had quite a good few fights in recent years, but no one on the level of Anthony Joshua. So God forbid if he somehow manages to pull the win off, which I don't think is going to happen, and no one else on the internet believes that he's going to win this fight. Even if he just survives and he goes to a decision, Jake Paul won. If he doesn't get slept in the first round, Jake Paul wins. And let's talk about the lose-lose scenario for AJ. So if he wins this fight, if he knocks him out in the first minute, everyone would think, well, yeah, you were supposed to do that anyway. Wow, well done. And then if he loses, he'll never ever hear the end of it. The opportunity for him to fight Tyson Fury, fight for another world championship belt, he will literally lose so much respect from the combat sports world. And arguably, that would be fair. I mean, if you can't take out Jake Paul, if you lose to Jake Paul, a quote-unquote YouTuber, you're done. You are absolutely done. So obviously, AJ has all of the advantages. He has 5-inch height advantage. He's 6'6". Jake Paul is 6'1" or 6'2", I think. He will have a 20 to 30 pound weight advantage, which, you know, it could get a little bit closer to that when they come to fight, but still, he's a natural 260 pounder. He walks around he's built like a brick shithouse, mate. Now, Jake Paul ain't. He has a 6-inch reach advantage. He has knockout power, the skill set. As I said before, he was an Olympic gold medalist in boxing. You know, he's fought all the greats. He's fought Alexander Usyk. He's fought Daniel Dubois, Vladimir Klitschko. He's fought so many big names. So he has all the advantages going into this fight. He's had 6 world titles. And granted, his last fight against Daniel Dubois did not go his way. I mean, he really got flatlined in that fight. But regardless, just because he got knocked out by Daniel Dubois does not mean that he isn't an Olympic gold medalist boxer. It doesn't mean that he's suddenly a bad boxer. It just means that he wasn't as good as Daniel Dubois on the night. And losing to Alexander Usyk there's no shame in losing to Alexander Usyk. Everyone does. I don't even know. I genuinely don't know what to say. And for all the Americans that are watching this video, please don't be fooled by the fight that he had with Andy Ruiz. Yes, it was his first fight in America, and he lost by KO. But do not underestimate AJ. AJ is an absolute powerhouse. He is a bodybuilder, right? He looks like a bodybuilder, but he's got insane technique, insane power, and like I said before, Olympic gold medalist boxer. So yeah, if there are any Americans watching this video, please do not think that just because he got knocked out by Andy Ruiz that he's a bad boxer and that Jake Paul has a chance here, because he doesn't. And yeah, I do think because he got knocked out by Andy Ruiz in his first fight in America, I do believe that Americans sort of underestimate him because of that, which they shouldn't, but you know, I can understand why they do. But make no mistake about it, he is not washed. Do you remember when Francis Ngannou moved over from the UFC MMA to boxing, and he took on Tyson Fury and took him all to a decision? Took him to a decision. Granted, he lost that fight, but he knocked Tyson Fury down. Tyson Fury was the heavyweight champion of the world, and he went in there on his first ever boxing match and knocked him down with a left hook. Who does that in their first boxing match? No one in their first boxing match in history has ever knocked down the champion in boxing in his first boxing fight. It has never happened. And everyone was thinking, oh my God, Francis Ngannou, he could be the next champion in boxing as well. And that's until he ran into Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua made light work of him and flatlined him, knocked him down 3 times, and with the last punch, knocked him clean out. He literally flopped to the floor like a sack of spuds. So AJ is no joke. Let's talk about the betting odds via DraftKings. So at this current moment in time, AJ is a minus 1,000 favourite. Jake Paul is a plus 550 underdog. That's ridiculous. And to be fair, that's probably going to change as well. It's probably going to go way, way, way higher for AJ. It's probably going to get up to the minus 1,500 or minus 2,000 because he's not going to win. Jake Paul's not going to win this fight. I don't know what. He's got balls of steel. As much shit as you want to give Jake Paul for, you know, fighting 58-year-old Mike Tyson, yeah, I understand. I completely understand. Going up against Tommy Fury and losing that, again, I completely understand. Tommy Fury is not a world champion in boxing. He aspires to be, but at this moment in time, he is not. He's went up against Nate Diaz, who's a good fighter. He is a little bit out of his prime, but it's still Nate Diaz. Anderson Silva. So one thing I can say is that Jake Paul has balls of steel. Not even steel, balls of tungsten. That's what he's got. He ain't got balls of steel, he's got balls of tungsten. And to think that somehow we actually managed to get Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua before we got Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. Now, I'm not being funny, but that does not make Tyson Fury look good. I'm sorry, it really doesn't. You've got to obviously think as well. AJ went 24 rounds with Alexander Usyk. 24 rounds, and he went the whole 24 rounds. He didn't get knocked out. He went 24 rounds and went to a decision twice with Alexander Usyk, right? And Alexander Usyk is a very similar size to Jake Paul. Jake Paul's nowhere near, not even in the same conversation, not even in the same universe as Alexander Usyk, right? But they are the same size. So you've got to think as well. AJ went 24 rounds with Alexander Usyk, and Jake Paul couldn't even beat Tommy Fury. How is he going to beat Anthony Joshua? I don't know. Obviously, he's doing this for money. He's estimated to get about $267 million for this fight. And no matter what any of you guys say, if you were offered $267 million or more to fight Anthony Joshua, you'd probably do it. I'd definitely do it. Yeah, granted, I'll get smacked the fuck up, but I'll be getting $267 million afterwards, so it'd be fine. Like, I literally can't imagine a universe where Jake Paul wins this fight. The chance of him landing a punch on AJ and knocking him out is 0.0000000 forever 1%. If Alexander Usyk cannot knock out Anthony Joshua, then Jake Paul can't. I'm sorry, alright? Alexander Usyk hits way harder than Jake Paul. He was punching Tyson Fury around the ring in their first fight. His head was bouncing around like a pinball machine. It was literally like... And there's no way that Jake Paul's going to do that to Anthony Joshua. It's just not going to happen. And this is a very, very interesting fight, don't get me wrong. I mean, combat sports fans might finally get what they've wanted to see for years. Jake Paul get flatlined and humbled. Granted, he has been defeated before. Tommy Fury has defeated him, but it wasn't a satisfying victory. He got beat by a decision, right? Which is cool. You know, Jake Paul did get defeated and people did laugh at him for that, but it was not the satisfying knockout that everyone was craving. And this is a very interesting point to bring up. So if AJ, right, if he goes in there and somehow does not get Jake Paul out of there in the first round, then everyone will be just alluding to the fact that this fight was fixed. Because they've already been saying that Jake Paul's fights are rigged. So if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock him out and doesn't get the job done quickly, that will bring into jeopardy Jake Paul's legitimacy of his fights. And it's hard to argue with that, you know? I can't imagine a world where Anthony Joshua does not flatline him quickly. Now, the ultimate question of this video. How do I see the fight going? Well, I imagine Jake Paul will be on the back foot in the beginning, only throwing jabs. I don't see him willing to exchange with Anthony Joshua. I don't see him throwing combinations. I imagine Anthony Joshua will be the aggressor. He'll be plodding forward, putting the pressure on, and Jake Paul will probably think, shit, I don't know what to do. And he'll keep on the back foot, circle around him, and just keep popping in with jabs, jab to the body, jab to the head. I can't see him throwing any straights. I can't see him throwing any hooks. Overhands, definitely. That's the only power shot that he is going to possibly be able to land against Anthony Joshua. But ultimately, I do think that AJ will eventually get to him and he will eventually TKO him against the ropes very quickly. If this is a legitimate fight, that is the way that it will go. So yeah, guys, what do you think about this fight? What do you think? I can't believe it. Genuinely, I cannot believe that we managed to get Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua before we got Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua. What's next? Is Jake Paul going to fight Alexander Usyk next? Daniel Dubois? Tyson Fury? What world are we in, man? Like, what is actually going on? So let me know what you guys think about this fight. Do you think it's mental, or do you think Jake Paul actually has a chance? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like this video, don't forget to subscribe and turn the bell notifications on so you get notified every single time I post a new video. And I will see you guys in the next one.